Gotta listen to some music and do other things, I guess. I don't know. Gotta have a good mixer. Yeah, tired. Ugh, always tired. There we go. Got some music going. And hopefully everyone can hear me. So, I'm not actually going to post tonight because I feel like I disappoint too many people sometimes. You're at it some more. Don't stay up too late. I'm fine right now, I think. You're not going to try to stay up too late, but yes, I'm back at it for some more. I'm feeling healthy-ish. I gotta get outside. I gotta exercise more and stop eating so badly, but, you know, COVID. Put on way too much weight during COVID, and so I gotta lose all that. I wish I had someone angry to yell at me every time I, like, wanted a snack. Just to be like, no snacking. You go and do 10 push-ups or something. Would help. That's why we need, like, virtual, like, assistant, robot, hologram thingies. Just to keep me in line because, ugh, I suck at it myself. But yeah, I decided I'd come back. But yeah, I am back. So thank you for joining me tonight. I appreciate that. So we'll see how I do. I do like my new tablet. I got a new tablet, man. It's, like I said, I haven't really used it too much. So I don't know if it's good for art, but at least some of the features, I'm sure it's good for art, but some of the features are really nice. Like being able to quickly access setting to change the size of my pen is nice. So that's not me being sick. I swallowed my spit the wrong way. Yeah. Yeah, too low. Just a little darker here. Okay. So let's see, we're gonna go. Okay. Gotta erase some stuff here. I should probably actually just go back over it and make it a little cleaner looking. I probably will actually. Oh. I'm all like, what? On the wrong thing here, buddy. On the wrong thing. Okay, I don't like that. Want it to be a little smaller. Is this the killers? Mm-hmm. Okay, so why is this one? Oh, a bit closer. Sometimes Spotify gets it just right. Plays the songs you actually want to hear. Okay, so let's see what we got going on. Okay. Okay. Hi, viewer. Hi, extra viewer, I should say. Otherwise here. I hope you are having a fantastic night. Thanks for joining me. I am currently just doing a doodle from last night. I'm just kind of re-going over it so I can touch it up with color. Yeah. And you left. Okay. Hey, what's up, Lemon? I'm just retouching up this one. Oh, the no shine? Yeah, it's not great. I have to still work on it, but that's okay. There we go. Anyway. I'm not sure how long I'm going to be on tonight. I'm just gonna doodle, see how it goes. I feel like, and this is just me personally, so this is one of my biggest issues is that when I stream, I tend not to talk a lot, and I know I don't, and I gotta get better at that, but I always worry that I'm gonna say things that people are gonna, like, be like, I don't fucking agree with that guy right now, and I'm just gonna fucking, no, I'm not gonna watch him. And so I think the problem is I don't cultivate any kind of following. But it's really hard for me to want to rage. Like, I rant a lot to my wife. And I can go out and rant about pretty much anything. Like, And I just don't know how much people want to hear, like, when I rant or about what. Like, I can give you my opinion on a game like Diablo 4. So I'm going to give a hot take on Diablo 4. I played it this weekend. I got to level 20 on a rogue. I love rogues in most games. Always play rogue. So I got to level 20 in Diablo. I know that's not max level for the beta, but I finished Act 1. I died. I went on Tier 2, so Adventure World 2, which is supposed to be harder than Adventure 1. And here's what I found. The game plays quickly enough for my liking, but it's also very boring. So what I discovered is, like, in all these games, right? So it's not just a... Sorry, I gotta turn that down because I can't hear myself think. It's not just a, you know, kind of like, oh, it's Diablo versus, you know, typical rogue or whatever. I think my problem is with the game that, one, it felt very easy to play. So it didn't feel very challenging. And maybe level 3 and 4 would be quite a bit more challenging. But my other issue with the game was that, outside of the lag, it was very clunky. It just didn't feel like it was worth playing. Like, it went so fast. Act 1 went so fast. So predictable, the storyline. That it just felt weak. Rogues are okay, but it's like, if you do the right thing, if you stack... I think I ended up with one whole skill that I used throughout it, which was Flurry. And I killed everything at level 20 within 3 seconds, essentially. Even, like, the tougher mobs, I was killing in probably, like, 3 seconds. Essentially, you stack all of your percentage skills, and then once you stack your percentage skills, right? So, and by percentage skills, I mean things that increase, like, percentage damage, base percent damage. So you have skills that are like, oh, your swords now do 3% more damage, and I think that stacks up to, like, 15%. And then you're getting other things that are like, oh, this does 6% more damage. Things like that for your core skills. Or it adds pluses to your rogue skills or whatever. And so, to me, it was just a matter of, okay, I like rogues. The game isn't terrible. It just felt clunky. So, I mean, if someone were to ask me my opinion on Diablo 4, would I say it's worth buying based on the beta? I would say that really depends on you. But on my experience, because I was going into the game telling my wife I really wanted to buy the game. right? I hadn't played it yet, and I was like, I love Diablo 3, and this is supposed to be like kind of a return to the original Diablo 3 / Diablo 2 style, not Reaper of Souls. I went into it wanting to pre-order it, right? I came out of the beta saying to myself, I'm not pre-ordering this. It doesn't play like I wanted it to play. Which I think is a perfectly fine thing, because that's, to me, that's what betas are for, right? Betas are there so that you learn if it's the kind of game you want to invest your time in. Also for, bug purposes, which, oh my gosh, the game, unless they improve the servers dramatically, that game is unoptimized trash in cities. Like, seriously, unoptimized trash. And like I said, I wanted to super laggy, just horribly laggy. Like, you'd get into a town, and it would look like you were ice skating. Like, once I got out of town, it was fine. Even in zones where, like, there were other people, it was fine. For the most part. Like, you get 4 or 5 people in your area, though, it lagged so bad. Like, it was unbelievable, the amount of lag. And maybe it's my computer, but I have 500 megabyte download speeds, and while my GPU is like the greatest, it's still a 2070 Super, which should be more than enough for the game. So I mean, my computer's a couple years old. It should still be good enough. I can't find a new GPU at a reasonable price at this point that beats it. That's another thing. We've been, the media, and I'm gonna say this, fuck media for not talking about this issue more. The fact that we have a whole shit ton of media pushing this narrative of supply chain issues, fucking market shortages, things like that. Go and look it up. Look up why the cost of GPUs is as expensive as they are, and it will fucking blow your mind. And it has nothing to do with any sort of chip shortage that they tried pushing originally. The reason why GPUs are expensive is that companies like Nvidia do not want to ship them out because they are trying to artificially inflate their prices. Which is the most fucking anti-consumer, ridiculous thing in the world. Like, as much as people like to bitch about, Google having, a monopoly on, market search and shit, at least they get their fucking shit done, right? Sorry for swearing so much, but at least they do. This is what I mean. I express myself too much, and I don't think it's always the most conducive way of doing it. But it is pure rubbish that consumers have to suffer because big corporations want to maximize their profits. Instead of just going out and selling you a product at a reasonable price, they just want to keep the prices inflated because they can. And look, I'm all right. I am, for the most part, I'm very liberal, but I'm also very understanding about how markets work. And I get it. Businesses are businesses. They run on profits. But maybe antitrust lawsuit against NVIDIA would help them? I don't know. Maybe the antitrust lawsuit might help wake them up. Sadly, not likely. Yeah, unfortunately. It would be nice to think, though, wouldn't it? The problem is companies like NVIDIA have so much money, and they don't care. Like, NVIDIA can easily just ship all those jobs, their headquarters, over to China, and there's not a damn thing we can do about it. The problem is we've allowed so many businesses to run roughshod that they feel there's nothing that can be done to them. We've given so many protections that they've essentially said, you know what, thanks for all the protections, go fuck yourself. And again, apologize for my language. It's kind of like, take for instance World of Warcraft, right? I still love World of Warcraft. Which is probably the saddest thing I can say. Right? And it's not sad because, like, I think World of Warcraft, like, I don't think it's shameful to like any kind of video game or game as an adult. You have to have hobbies. But I think Blizzard knows their audience very well. Like, the people who think that things like changes, like I was talking about yesterday, to pants, right? These people who get outraged about things like pants on a character, they know when they do it that they're going to get outraged. And they're doing it for a purpose, though, right? And it's a distraction. It's a distraction from the fact that The game has existed for literally 19 years in public. No, 18, no, 7 or 18 years. 19 years. Almost 19. As a public game. And World of Warcraft has the exact same gameplay model that it did 19 years ago. Nothing has changed. Right? And they know their audience very well. Consists of people who are easily rage baited. People who will essentially, when they encounter anything that talking heads tell them they should be outraged about, they are outraged about. Like I said, changing pants. Which, again, makes no sense. So, I'm going to show you. Here, let me see if I can find it on... Here. Yes, I'm part of Bard Experiment. But, so... people are outraged about this. Please. Okay. Okay. So this is her now, right? This is a singular quest for her, where they covered her thighs up. As you can see, here. Gotta change the contrast here, I think. Anyway. Yeah, I'm gonna change this one. Oh, shoot. I kind of have to just cool. There we go. That's better. That's more realistic. Okay. Okay. Anyway, so they got her pants, right? People are just extremely upset, apparently, that she has pants on. Worst thing ever, her pants. Okay. And there are people screaming to high heavens that because they put pants on her, they are trying to censor all females in the game now. Which, you know, taken by itself, people might go, oh, I can't believe they're doing that. I can't believe they're really trying to take away, like, agency from people. Well, they didn't. You can still wear whatever pants you want. But the ironic part about this is that in this patch, when they added these pants, you can still go to the dungeon she is in, and she's wearing her old thigh highs, but they added this model. Yeah, yeah. I'm supposed to believe that Blizzard is telling me, hey, we're trying to censor all females at the same time we release this toy. Yeah. And people fall for the rage bait on this because that's... So Blizzard can continually distract them from the fact that the game hasn't changed. Constantly. Because they know that if they can rage bait people... Because these people are captive, right? It's like dealing with people who have Munchausen syndrome, essentially. You know they're not going anywhere. But you also know that they're going to... You're going to have to keep them. So... How do you keep them engaged? With rage bait. So you do things. You do stupid little things. That you know really make no difference to the game at all. And so, yep, that's exactly what it is. It's artificial controversy to drive, one, engagement. Like, literally, there are people out there making 20-minute... And I get it, like, people are a little disappointed in Blizzard after, one, all their sexual harassment, and two, the fact that they did go a little overboard by changing some in-game models of females into bowls of fruit. Like, pictures... into bowls of fruit to, you know, try to retroactively do that. I get that. But that isn't them censoring anybody. NPCs, paintings, objects don't have agency. The company may have gone overboard, but those things in the end have very little bearing on the actual gameplay, but it creates artificial rage. And once they started seeing that artificial rage, they knew they had people hooked. Because rage much like sex, rage sells very well. It plays on passion, right? You're passionate about something, and so I'm going to play on that passion because I know that in your mind, any change that I do is either going to be accepted or bad. I know that you're also going to stay in game. But man, if I can keep you engaged, I can drive those views. Like, if I have a 20-minute segment on how they're, a bunch of sexists because they put a pair of pants on a lady and they won't give her agency. It's just funny to me. It just, yeah. And it's so tiring at the same time. Because you know what's happening, right? Like, you don't need to tell me what's happening. I know what's happening. Because I know that it's not real. I know no one's really truly outraged by this change. And I mean, you shouldn't be. But and there's so many hot takes on the matter. Like, it's weird. In a society where we essentially are banning books, where oh shoot. That's fine. It's supposed to color down here. It's fine. It's fine. It'll work out. In a society where we are now literally taking away the rights of people for whatever reason, I'm not sure why, but we seem very content on doing that. Yeah. I do this a lot where I choose the wrong layer. But it's okay. Like, we have a society where, like, we have women who are being persecuted for having abortions because people, for various reasons. I don't want to get into the political details about that, but I'm of the opinion that nobody is, like, there's this idea that women are just using it as birth control, which, one, makes it seem like women are just, it's kind of like victim blaming, right? You're blaming the woman for wanting to murder a living thing, so to speak. But you don't want to accept responsibility that there are a lot of reasons why it happens, And that it's not like this, oh, well, I just decided I got pregnant 2 nights ago, and, you know, found out I was pregnant after having sex 3 weeks ago, and, you know, I just don't give a fuck, I'm gonna kill the baby. It's never that simple. Like, and the fact that you can have a conversation with these people, and it's never more nuanced than that, is what makes it sad for me. If that makes sense. And I don't like that. I don't like the idea that we need to victim blame anyone or make it seem like we don't need to make things artificially easier to justify our behavior towards other people. I'm full of hot takes tonight, I guess. So oh my gosh, would you stop doing that? And I mean, I am sure that there are people who have probably used it as a form of birth control. And I'm not saying that's right or wrong. I'm saying that may happen. But at the same time, we don't take away gun rights based on shootings that are murdering people. You can't, yeah. It's frustrating. It is what it is, though. I mean, I'm not gonna try to make sense of everything. Sometimes, unfortunately, life is nonsensical. In my ideal world, everyone would be treated equal, kind, and no one would be in anyone else's business. I just want people to be like, oh, okay. Like, you made a choice. I don't understand it, or I wouldn't personally do that, but at the same time, that's your choice. People have to live with the choices they make. And I don't think trying to make people feel worse about the choices they have to make necessarily works. But that's just me. Who is this? Oh, the Vines. Yeah. I haven't heard of them in a while. Hmm. It's kind of like when you hear someone say, like, I'm beginning to think like the phrase pedophile and groomer is like the new Nazi. Well, at least in America, like everybody is a pedophile or a groomer if they don't side with you, right? It's like the Republicans' biggest thing now. Oh, they're a groomer, they're a pedophile. And it's ironic considering, like, you go to states like West Virginia, where they literally just voted to keep child marriage legal. Because it is, quote-unquote, an important tradition to West Virginia. Yes, nothing screams important tradition and grooming, or not grooming, like marrying a 14-year-old child. But, again, that's a me thing. I saw someone trying earlier to define, like, why you can't divide by 0, right? And I think it's ironic that somebody would be like, oh, why is it you can't divide by 0? Why is it my calculator throws out an error that says, you know, error can't do it? Like, and it's like, people try, like, overthinking things, right? At least in my mind. They try to overthink simple things. So to me, right, the answer to the question why you can't divide by 0 is the same reason. Okay. So, what are you doing? Like, technically, what are you here? I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do this. I'm actually gonna write here. So say what the heck is going on with this? Okay. Say you have 30 divided by 0, right? So you take 30 and you divide it by 0. It equals... Does it equal 0? Right? If you do it on a calculator... So... On a calculator... It'll throw an error out. Right? It'll tell you it can't do it. Now... The theory I was watching said something like this. So if you take 1 and you divide it by a number, right? Like 0.1 equals 10. Okay. 1 divided by point 0.0001, right? Equals 1,000, right? Now the question is, why is it that the bigger the number, so if I go 1, and I go divided by 2, equals 0.5, right? Why does it seem like these work inverse? The larger the number gets, the more it trends towards 0. And the smaller the number gets, the much larger this gets. Well, it's a simple reason, right? What are you doing when you're dividing? So, I think the problem is you need to define what dividing is, right? So, dividing is the process of splitting a number apart. That's it, right? It's simple. The process of dividing is simply splitting a whole into pieces, right? So, what if I tell you to divide by half? Right? You're going to go, okay, this is 1/2, and this is the other half. Pretty simple. But if I tell you to divide something by 0.1, so equals 1 divided by 0.1, right? What I'm telling you to do is now split this into 10 equal parts, because it requires 10 to make a whole. So right? And you can prove this is correct by just simply pulling up your calculator. So, essentially, while it seems like both ways should be splitting it, what you're really doing is you're saying, I need to divide this by that. So, I think this is a weekend, right? Weekend. Nope, broken bells. Okay. So if I go 1 divided by 0.1 equals 10. Because it takes 10 parts to remake the whole. If I divide the whole by 2, I'm dividing it in half. Right? I've taken that one and I split it apart. Essentially, you're splitting it apart into whatever the product is, or whatever the number is. That's all it is. Right? And I know this is getting convoluted, but hang on with me. So, people are like, why is it that I can't divide by 0? Well, here's why. 1 equals, let's say, an apple. Right? So we have an apple. And I want you to divide this by 0. I want you to split this apple by nothing. So how many times can you split something by nothing? That's the question. Well, the answer is nothing. You can't split it. You can't split something by nothing because there's nothing there to split it. Right? If I break down a block into its 0.1 parts, you're going to have 10 of them. If I divide it in half, or by 2, you're going to have the same thing happen. Right? It's going to take 2 halves to equal a whole. Whereas, if you divide it by that, it takes 1,000 blocks to equal a whole. So, the reason you can never divide by 0 is because 0 is literally nothing. You can't divide by nothing. It's the same reason you can't multiply, right? So if multiplication is the combination of 2 objects, right? Or 2 groups of objects. Essentially, when you combine, or when you multiply, think of division as the opposite of multiplication. If I say 1 times 2 means I have 1 object, but I have 2 bundles of that, or 2 instances of that object, right? So, think of these as separate instances, but you have 2 of them. So 1, you have 1 object, you have it 2 times. If I give you a group of 3 objects, and I say 3 times 2, that means I'm giving you that group of objects 3 times, right? Now, the same thing applies with 0. If I give you 9, and I multiply it by 0, what I'm saying is that you have a group of 9 times nothing. So what I'm really giving you is I have 9, but I'm going to give you none of it. You get no groups of that 9. So if you get no groups of that 9, right, you have 0. That's the answer. The same reason for division. It's kind of like another thing I saw earlier. Hold on, I gotta check my phone. I think my wife is messaging me. Okay. Now, because I'm having so much fun doing this, here's another thing that somebody threw out on the internet that I like to talk about. Okay. Let's say this is the Earth. Why is it showing up as red? That's weird. Must be a color thing here. I'll have to readjust it. I'll do that later. So this is the planet up here. You have okay. You have Europe, you have Africa, you have the planet, right? Somebody said... Somebody's question was, why haven't we been visited by aliens? Okay. And I think the 3 reasons they gave were this. They gave 3 reasons. Equal species dies out. Universe is smaller than we believe. 1, 2, or 3. The third option he gave was species evolve to realize they are happier not expanding. Okay. Now all of those sound really good ideas, right? But theoretically you can't hit the speed of light. So here's a question. If you travel 0.99% the speed of light, how long did it take to travel 1 light year? Right? So essentially it's going to take 1.425 years to travel 1 light year. Okay. How close to Earth is the nearest inhabitable planet? So 4.22 light years away, right? Assuming you're going 0.99, if you're going 0.99% the speed of light, you're pretty advanced. But if you're going that fast, it's going to take you a few years to get to us, right? So it may feel like it's only a year or something if you're going that speed inside the ship. Physical time for us is going to be much longer than that. So, but here's the bigger thing, right? You have to assume that, let's say, 1% of all inhabitable planets are inhabited. One, what are they inhabited by? Who are they inhabited by? Did they evolve? Big question. 2, how far away are they? In a huge universe, assuming that they are hundreds of light years away, right? What is the biggest burden on space travel? Energy. Energy and resources are your biggest challenge, right? So, even if you discovered a way of essentially staying alive forever, you would run into an issue about energy. How do you... So the questions you have to answer are, how do you produce enough energy? And number 2, how do you get resources? Repairs, food, medicine, so it's not a matter of, well, the universe is small, that's why. So let's cross that out. And I don't think it's a matter of species evolve to realize that they're happy or not expanding. So realistically, the number one reason why is species die out, right? The reason we haven't been visited is because there's just not enough resources for a species of that intelligence to get to us. It's much easier to stick in your local area of the galaxy and expand. And even then, look at our section of the galaxy, right? Like, we have 3 gas giants, Venus, which we can't do anything on, Mercury, which we essentially can't do anything on, Mars, which we might be able to do something on eventually, Pluto. So our biggest hope at space mining or resource gathering is going to come from the asteroid belt, things like that. That's really... So even if you could hop from planet to planet, the amount of time to terraform the planets, to get it ready, to build up a society that's capable of producing enough resources and energy, it's such a great, vast requirement that logically your species is going to die out before you can even get that far. If you could find a way to live forever, you still would have the issue of, do you have the resources to live forever? Like, living forever sounds great until you realize you don't have food and you starve to death. Living forever is not immortality. It just means that you don't die from old age. Okay. So, I am going to be back tomorrow during the day, and I'm going to finish this picture. I'm going to finish this picture for sure. I'm tired right now, so I'm going to actually go to bed now. And I will see you guys in the morning. I appreciate you stopping by and watching. Everyone have a good night. I will be back.